how long did it take you to get promoted to a blue belt? And how often were you training during that time?
So, real simple question. It took me, I think, about 9 or 10 months to get my blue belchi. And when I was at that time, I was at SEAL Team 1. Mm-hmm. I was in the training department, and I had a lot of opportunity to train. Mm-hmm. At that time, Clinton years, not a lot of money to train in the SEAL teams. Yeah. So less trips, shorter trips, less travel. So we were staying around a little bit more. No war going on top of all that. So we were home a little bit more. And so I trained all the time. I would go to lunch. At lunch, I would zip over to Fabio Santos and train the lunchtime class. And then I'd zip back and do work. And then we'd get done. I'd go back and I would do the beginner class. And then I would do the advanced class. And then I would roll with Dean and Higgs and James Nielsen and Craig and the rest of the guys that were there at Fabio's at the time. And Fabio used to kick Dean and I off the mat at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, taking too long.
Yeah, and he'd say, "Why don't you guys get a life? What are you doing?" And we'd say, "We're just training the jiu-jitsu."
You say, "We got a life. It's right here.
Yeah,
I'm living it.
This is it."
And so it was mostly at Fabio's. Like, you know how you said you'd like train with your guys who weren't trained or whatever. Was there that going on?
Yeah. Anybody that wanted to roll with me, I had the same policy that I have right now. You want to roll? Cool.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
Yeah.
Well, I have my gear. It's in my bag right now. If you want to train, we'll train. It's, Thursday afternoon and it's 2 o'clock and we don't have any work to do and you want to train? Cool. We'll train. Yeah. So, I was doing that all the time. And the thing is, once I got blue belt, because I think I got blue belt pretty quickly, but I was a blue belt for a long time because right as I was probably getting close to getting my purple belt, I left. I left California and I went to Virginia Beach. Once I got to Virginia Beach, stepped into a new dojo with Gustavo Machado.
Sure.
And, started training with Gustavo. And I'm just a blue belt, right? And so he's got to learn me, figure out what my personality's like, see what my potential is as a person. And I trained really hard there, but I was also gone a lot traveling, and that's when I was traveling a lot on the road, and I would train with guys on the road, and I went on deployment, train with guys on deployment, and then it would come back into town. And so I didn't get consistent enough with him, eyes with him, where he said, "Hey, this guy's ready for his purple belchi." So by the time I might have been close to him thinking, okay, you know what, I need to start looking at him for a purple belt, went back to San Diego. Got back to San Diego, and now I check back into Fabio's. Well, it's been 2 years, bro. you need to prove yourself again. Yeah. So it was almost like I was at the bottom of the pecking order in terms of time and rank, even though I'd been a blue belt for a long time. So I ended up being a blue belt for a long time. I want to say it was a blue belt for maybe like 5 years.
Yeah,
and I was a good blue belt. Don't get me wrong.
Sure, of course you were.
But it was a long time. When you jump around from school to school and the instructor doesn't know you well enough and doesn't see you on a regular basis and can't assess your improvement, because that's the thing with jiu-jitsu, in my opinion.
Sure.
You don't get your belt. There's not a level playing field for every person. So, in other words, it's not, hey, these are the skills required for blue belt, and now you get your blue belt. And then you've learned these other 127 other moves, and now you get your purple belt. Now there's 310 moves to get it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's also not, hey, how do you as a blue belt do against this other group of blue belts? What it is, and I know this sounds a little bit cliche, but it's really, how good are you against you, right? Yeah. Because if somebody, let's say you get somebody that starts jiu-jitsu when they're older, maybe they're 55 years old. They're going to go and they train until they're 62 or they're training. Their skill level, they're getting injured, they're having issues, they got to work, they got to do a bunch of other things, and they're a hobbyist, right? They're not focused and they can only train so much. They learn the moves, they get better. 10 years go by, there's a chance that they're going to be a black belt based on the fact that, hey, as a 55-year-old person that came in here and started training and the moves that you've learned and how you've applied them according to your athletic ability and your physical capability at the time, hey, it's been 10 years, which is a pretty rough number for for getting your black belt. So that's acceptable. But you might get a kid that's a really good athlete that in 2 years can destroy that guy.
Yeah.
And he's not getting his black belt. Yeah. Because you're saying, what is your potential? How good can you be as a black belt? That's the question. Yeah. So really, it's almost a compliment. The longer it takes you to get your belts, that means, in my opinion, that means the better that your instructor thinks you're going to be.
Yeah.
That's my thought. And not everyone does it like that. Some people think, oh, if this purple belt can beat that purple belt, this purple belt's better.
Yeah.
And if this purple belt can beat the brown belt, then I need to give him his brown belt. Not too many people think that way. Yeah. You know who thinks that way? The purple belt. I can beat the brown belt. Yep. I should be a brown belt. No, wrong. So
true. And there's so many of those little things, like the reason an instructor might be influenced to give someone. I mean, typically they're not going to give someone a belt based solely on the fact that he taps out that brown belt. So, but it is influenced by that.
It is.
Oh, there's all these weird things. There's stuff like
sometimes I'm watching like two blue belts, and they'll see that I'm watching, and it turns into a death match because none of them wants to tap.
And actually, you know what?
Dang, I just saw a video of a guy with a Kimura. I think you put it on social media.
I saw that live.
What kind of injured his elbow? You think? Because it looked like his elbow.
Yeah, maybe like
crack.
A bicep.
Yeah, didn't tap to the Kimura. Yeah. The Kimura is a beast, man.
Yeah.
The Kimura is a beast. You cannot tap to a footlock. Yeah. You can even not tap to a heel hook.
Yeah.
Heel hook can go really sideways. Yeah. But you don't tap to a Kimura, you're probably going to have some issues, man.
Yeah, it's so terrible to watch. Like I've seen guys like get their knee and stuff in a heel hook, and it's like, oh dang that, yeah. But man, the Kimura, when you see the guy's arm just bend that way, man. I didn't post that video. Someone else posted it. I would never post videos like that. In fact, don't watch that. I saw it live.
Is that what I did to your shoulder, according to the Success magazine?
almost
separated your shoulder.
Almost separated it.
I did not, people. I did not do that. I know it sounded nice and dramatic, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever almost separated my shoulder.
No.
Yeah,
not
but as far as people getting instructors getting influenced on why to give guys belts or a higher belt, like some instructors, for example, they'll be influenced now by to give a guy a higher belt because I want to have more black belts under me. We have a team of black belts, and typically that'll have a lot to do with sales. Where I can be like, hey, I have a team of. Yeah, and I've heard the sales pitch, where it's like, hey, we have seven black belts on the mat, 3 world champions. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So people might be influenced by that, and then they'll be like, okay, maybe I'll give these 2 guys their belt, so now we have 4 black belts or whatever. There's that.
Cool.
And then if that's the reason, I mean, it is good to have 10 black belts in your association.
Yeah, that is good.
If it's legit, yeah, for sure. But then there's the opposite too, where guys will be like, if they're, and this typically happens if they're competing. So if a coach is like, hey, I got these 5 brown belts, they're obviously on the level of black belt, knowledge, performance, all this stuff. But when they go in the tournament in the brown belt level, they're killing. We got gold team medals every time. So then there's that
sandbagging,
exactly right. So there's all those things. In regards to the belt, I said this before. I'm going to say it again. The belt really doesn't have to do with how good you think you are or how good even you are. If you're like, hey, I'm tapping, I'm a white belt, for example. I'm a white belt, and I'm hanging with the purple belts. I'm tapping blue belts, and brown belts I'm giving them a hard time. So I should be a blue belt. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And it sounds like an exaggeration. It doesn't matter at all. It matters a little bit. Here's the thing. No, it doesn't. Your skill is evaluated by your instructor. That's the reason why you can be at a certain level, leave, come back, and still not be, because your instructor. You can be dominating everywhere. The instructor has to evaluate you.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with me. And it wasn't a negative thing. It was like, hey, you've been gone for 2 years. We got to see where you're at, Jocko.
Yeah. And it's not a one-day thing
either.
Roll
back in here and get your purple belt just because you've been training for 2 straight years.
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting too is this. Obviously, this applies to people in the business world, people trying to get promoted, and the more you're thinking, hey, I'm better at this job than this guy. I should get. There's something else going on. There's something you look at, and the more frustrated you get about not getting that promotion, not getting taken care of, not getting noticed. Just do your job. Work hard. Don't worry about the promotion, and the promotion's going to come.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah.
So
I would even frame it where I would say in all cases, there are exceptions like everything else, but in all cases that is the situation, I think. And think about this too when you in regards to like your belt, right? Jiu-jitsu belt. If I'm a white belt, Jocko, you're my instructor, and I'm like, hey, I'm winning all these tournaments, all of them, gold, not a point score, all by submission. I'm tapping out blue belts and purple belts sometimes. Hey, Jocko, give me my blue belt. I can't do that. It's not up to me. Even if I beg you, I go on the internet, I post this petition. It's not up to me.
See, this is the thing. When you hear in martial arts, like old traditional martial arts, like you will learn humility, and you will learn discipline. And they would teach it, by teaching it, by talking about it. In jiu-jitsu, it's real.
Yeah.
Like you will be humble.
Yeah.
And when you flare up and say, where's my belt? That's you not being humble. That's you not, just saying, hey, I need to work harder. I need to keep getting after it.
Yeah.
And so you're learning that lesson right there.
That's part of the lesson. That's part of
the
the
way
whole
it
deal.
should be. And again, I've mentioned this before on the podcast. Just because someone is a jiu-jitsu person, just because they're a black belt, doesn't mean they have the same. It doesn't mean they have like the best morals and values. It doesn't mean that at all. There could be people selling belts. There's people that sell belts. Oh, you got to take 10 privates with me at $1,000 each, and then that's how you get the black belt. Okay, cool. Yeah. No, not cool. Yeah. So there's a bunch of things like that too. I want you to go open a pilot school for me somewhere, so I'm going to give you your black belt, even though you're not that good. So that way you can give me my 12% of your annual earnings. There's things like that happen, and there's even worse things that happen. But the bottom line is, in a pure jiu-jitsu sense, you should be working hard and getting promoted as it comes from your instructor. Yeah.
So essentially, the
is this sort of like an indirect way of you talking to me about your belt?
No, not at all. Actually, if it does apply to me, I'd say
doesn't matter. You don't even care.
Less than anyone cares or doesn't care. Of course, I think everyone cares in one way or another. But I'd say the approach, it more has to do with the approach. Like, just like how you said, focus on getting better. Focus on the learning. That's it. The belt is just a symptom of your learning. It's an eventuality, essentially. Same thing. Or back to the fact that it doesn't have anything to do with the person, only the instructor. On the flip side of what I said about, if I think I'm a blue belt and I'm not getting my blue belt, what's up? It's not up to me. It's up to the instructor, no matter what. Same thing as if you're like, hey, promotion time. Hey, Echo, here's your blue belt. And I'm like, I'm not ready for this blue belt. Yes, I suck. I can't even do this. Well, I can't give the belt back. I can't take it off and then put it, I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of excitement. There was that thing that happened a long time ago with Ensign.
That wasn't that long ago. That was like a year ago.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Okay.
But nonetheless, I can't give it back
when you get promoted, you're ready for it. So put your belt on and start getting after it harder.
It has nothing to do with your opinion. That's the point there. So it's your instructor.
And then keep training.
Yeah,
because sometimes people get their belts and they stop training.
Yeah, that's an indicator. Here's the thing. I'll admit there was a point in my life where I was concerned about that. I'm like, I'm better than this guy. I'm not going to say which belt. It was not recently, mind you, but
so it was like 3 weeks ago.
I guess I shouldn't have said. But man, I remember, and when I think about that time, man, I wasn't learning that much at all. I was just focusing on how good I do. So your game kind of is closed off. You don't learn much. You're concerned about all this stuff. And if
who's tapping who, and you're not taking any risks.
Not learning. Yes, exactly right. And gets you, and it just messes up your whole jiu-jitsu experience because you have that added element of stress. It's not good. Don't do that. So don't even ask about belts. I think that's a good. A good tip.
That is a great policy.
Yeah.
That's the best policy for belts. Just don't ask them. Train hard, and you'll get what's coming to you eventually.
But sometimes people will ask you, "Hey, when are you going to get your blue belt?" Or people will ask you that.
Whenever I'm ready.
I don't know. Yeah, whenever my instructor.
A lot of times people ask me when I'm going to get the red and black belt sheet. No, I'm just kidding. No one asked me that.
Jocko with a red and black, a coral belt. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.